You're listening to Misadventures with Tea, where things get hot, steamy, and a little bit creamy. I'm your host, Joseph, and we're here to explore all things tea. So sit back, grab your mugs, and get cozy while we spill the tea on tea. Hello, my fellow tea connoisseurs, tea lovers, and lovers of all things tea. Welcome to another episode of Misadventures with Tea. I am your host, Joseph, and today I am here with my good friend,
Kaylea.
Kaylea, yes, welcome. Welcome to the show. So how are you today?
I'm good. I mean, as we just discussed, it's been a bit of a stressful week, but that aside, it's a beautiful day to be alive. So doing good. Happy to be here.
Honestly, I get it, but I'm so happy, that you're here and we're going to enjoy this. We're going to have a nice little tea session and go from there.
Absolutely.
So before I get into, actually, are you familiar with the format of how we do things on the...
A little bit, but feel free to give me a refresher.
Yeah, no worries. So we're going to start off with a tea tasting. I'm going to ask you a few questions prior to that. There's going to be a brief moment of a little bit of history, maybe even have you chime in a bit if you know anything. And then let you kind of have the floor to talk about anything that you'd like to talk about, whether that be projects you're working on or just, shamelessly self-promote.
Perfect.
All right, so let's start. So would you consider yourself to be a tea drinker?
Yes.
Yes?
Mostly 98% tea drinker, 2% coffee.
Okay.
And mostly coffee and espresso martinis.
Honestly, fair. fair. We can never go wrong with an espresso martini. No. So you said around 98% tea drinkers. What would you say is your favorite tea?
Definitely chai.
Chai?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is there a particular place you usually get it from, or is it just any chai?
I feel like the chai masala is my favorite, especially when it's more authentic. Mm-hmm. But I also just tend to buy the chai tea bags from the grocery store because it's easier to get. But every once in a while, when I see a more authentic one, I'll pick that up.
Grab her. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how would you say is your favorite way of preparing? Are you kind of okay, so right now I should probably mention, or for most of my guests, I usually just have the tea for them. I don't prepare anything. I don't add any sugar. I don't add any cream, nothing, because I kind of want them to have the exact taste of the tea. Mm-hmm. But being an avid drinker, sometimes people have their preferences of how they prefer it. They like it black or they like it with 2 creams, whatever. How would you say is your preferred way of having your teas?
Generally, if I have a black tea, I like to have either oat milk or almond milk and a little bit of honey.
Honestly, that sounds delicious.
But if it's a green tea or a herbal tea, then I'll just drink that straight or sometimes with honey. I do love to add honey to my tea.
Honestly, fair.
Yeah.
That works. I'm usually the type to go black. Sometimes I'll add a little bit of milk to it. Mm-hmm. Or the most recently when I was going through my London fog phase, because I couldn't make London fogs at home. Not that I don't know how to make it, but it's more just the work.
Totally.
I was like, fucking, let me just grab one of those, the Delight, coffee creamers.
Oh, yeah.
So instead of milk, I would use that, just
I've done that before, yeah.
And honestly, it was quite good.
Yeah, it is. All the different flavors.
No, for real. The one I added that was French vanilla. I'm let's keep it basic because I don't know how it's going to turn out.
Yeah.
But anyways, okay. So that was a brief little questionnaire, I guess you can say. Why don't we get into the tea tasting? Let's start off with a little smell test. Tell me what you smell.
So immediately when you put it down, I was definitely getting a strong scent and I couldn't figure it out. But now after thinking, I'm thinking maybe some cinnamon. I don't know. It's smelling earthy.
Earthy? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe green. A little green tea in there? I don't know.
A little green tea? Okay. I mean, it's quite possible. I mean,
it's not smelling as strong now as when you originally put it down.
When I put it in.
Just because I think it's been sitting. Let me stir it.
Yeah, stir a little bit, see if maybe some of the aroma comes out.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just still getting a little bit of an earthy.
Okay. Going with earthy. Yeah, I would say earthy. Yeah. Okay. Let's give it a taste.
Okay.
See if maybe that changes any perspectives.
Okay. Better not be chai, and I'm not getting it right.
Also, sorry for the tea leaf bits. I did leave a spoon in case you needed it.
I don't know. Yeah, it seems more like simple.
Fair.
You know, easy to drink on its own, like not needing to add anything.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay, so before we... Actually, no. I'll ask you after I reveal. So the tea today is chai.
No! Are you serious? Oh my god, I had a feeling just because you knew I love chai, and I'm disgusted with myself. So obviously,
Honestly, don't blame yourself because
it's not like that strong.
it's not masala chai.
Oh, okay.
It's because normally, I'm not sure if you're aware, but chai is a black tea.
Yeah.
This is a Rooibos tea.
Okay.
So it's made a little bit differently. Very similar characteristics to chai. So it does have cinnamon. It has cloves, which is I think the other thing you're getting a sense of. But yeah, so I do remember her saying that it was like a little bit slightly. It's not going to be as like spicy or like have that kick, you know, that chai normally is known for. This is supposed to be more like mellow.
Okay, so I just started drinking Rooibos teas as well. Like I'm starting to drink more decaf teas. Just I don't know. I'm finding I don't even need caffeine in the mornings anymore, which is good, I guess. So I'm just starting to drink Rooibos. So yeah, that makes sense. I'm not quite as familiar with
no, honestly,
that version of chai, but oh my god, how dare I?
How dare she? No, it's totally fine. Like that's the one thing I love to kind of throw a little bit of a curveball towards my guests. So whether it be giving them something they've never had before, are unfamiliar with, or like, you know, kind of like testing the limits, see if like they do know their tea. So in this case, like I did have chai masala, and it was actually I gave it to my previous guest.
Okay.
So in this episode before this one, they'll be tasting chai masala, and I was like, I need another chai. Yeah. So I was like, we'll go with this one.
Yeah, this one's great.
Okay, so now I'm gonna give you the tea bag so that you can smell, and see if you get any other like notes.
Okay, let's see.
I'm gonna ask you to hold this for a second. Okay.
Perfect.
So now smell that and let me know.
Oh yeah, I'm almost getting like a hint of chocolate. But I think I can smell the cloves more now. Like this is what I smelled originally when you put it down, and then I think it just like faded away a little bit. But yeah wow.
No, and you know what's funny?
That's nice.
I don't know what these are. I feel like these are like roses.
I know. I was wondering what those were too. It kind of looks like an artichoke. A mini artichoke.
A mini artichoke. You know what it reminds me of, for those who obviously can't see? It looks like...
Or a bean.
You know those blooming, like, tea... Like I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there's this thing that some people do. Like it's like a tea ball. It's like a flower ball. Okay. When you throw it in a tea, or obviously some hot water to make tea, it blooms.
Oh, I've never seen that. That's so pretty.
It's like one of the prettiest things ever. And it's like one of the reasons why I would love to get like a glass a glass teapot.
Teapot, yeah.
Because then you can fully see it just like open up slowly.
Oh my god, that'd be so cute for hosting like a brunch or
for real.
A tea party.
But you know, I'm still a little paranoid about glass teapots.
That is fair.
But anyways, yeah, so that's what that looks like. In terms of the smell, I agree, it is more earthy.
Yeah.
The one thing I realized I forgot to look into is, you know, kind of what people had to describe this as, because sometimes you get some interesting descriptions. Mm-hmm. But in this case, I think we're just going to go with it, and it's fine. So before I guess provide a little bit of like tea history and some tea knowledge, do you have any knowledge that you can share with us, share with the guests and audience?
For tea?
Yeah, it can be chai tea or honestly just any fun facts.
I don't think I have any fun facts. I just know that I started drinking tea so young, and same with my brother. Like my brother was like 7 when he started drinking tea, and I was probably like, well, I would have been 14 at that time, but I don't know. I think I was younger. Like my mom would always make us tea, mm-hmm. and my great grandma would have this special way she'd spin her pot. It was like 2 times to the right and then like 3 times to the left or something like that. And it was just always like our special way that we'd make tea. And yeah, my brother and I, we used to actually take those very strange behavior, but we used to take those syringes.
Okay.
And we'd like syringe the tea out of our mug and then like shoot it in our mouth.
That is so funny.
I don't know why, but yeah. So that's just like my earliest memories with drinking tea. And I think we started off with just like a plain Tetley tea. I remember that always being in the house, the blue box.
Yeah, the Tetley teas. And it's always like not even like really like the special ones. It's like the black Tetley tea.
Just like the regular black with milk and honey and yeah. So that's pretty much my tea history.
No, it's all good. You know, it's funny that you mentioned like the syringes, because that kind of just reminded me of so I forgot what it's called. I think it's Juicy Drop Pops.
Okay.
It's basically a candy, but like it's similar to like Fruit Gushers, like the ones where like they're supposed to be fruit flavored, and when you bite into them, like there's like a bit of like juice or like candy juice, whatever. So similar idea, except that like it's a popsicle stick with a little small indent or that caves in, and then it comes with like this liquid, I guess you can say liquid syrup or like something like that you add on top, and it's supposed to kind of make the popsicle like even sweeter. And I'm pretty sure they call it Juicy Drop Pops, but I could be wrong.
Oh, I've never heard. I'll have to look that up.
And that's what that reminded me of.
Oh my god. And another weird tea moment is that, so in college, my first year in our dorms, we were allowed to have kettles, but we weren't allowed to have anything else. So I just had the kettle you plugged into the wall. And I was pouring my tea one morning, and the lid popped off the kettle, scalded my whole entire hand. My hand was so burnt that my best friend, Kaylea, her dad, is a firefighter. So he literally drove up to Toronto.
Oh my God. Brought
me creams, gauze, like all the stuff I needed for my hand. And I had to walk around with my hand in lukewarm water for like a week. And I was going to class and just had to keep my hand in a cup of lukewarm water, going to the cafeteria. Like, it was just a mess.
So basically, you were the girl with the with a bowl of water next to her all the time.
All because the lid wasn't on properly and I was trying to make a tea.
Oh my God. Well, there you goes. Misadventures with tea.
Misadventures. That was a misadventure with tea.
Well, I'm glad to hear at least your hand is all good now.
Yeah, it's healed. You know? No scarring.
No scarring. Thank the Lord. You know, last thing you want is scarring, but.
Yeah.
Okay. So, going on to fun facts. Do you know what the word chai means?
I don't.
It's funny. So, I remember hearing this, and it's something that like I talked again with like a few, well, the same guests last episode. But chai is the Hindi word for tea.
Oh, okay.
So when people say they want chai tea, they're literally saying, I want tea.
Right. Okay, well that makes sense with masala chai then.
Yeah.
Masala tea.
That
is so interesting. Okay, so is it just the tea, like the black tea of?
It's basically, so, no.
Okay.
So what they're basically saying is chai is just more like the name. I don't know why.
Is that like their authentic tea though?
Yes.
Okay.
So like that is a tea that I derived from India.
Okay.
I think I have these notes here actually, but it's derived from India, and it's made with a brewing mixture of spices, tea leaves, and milk.
Okay.
So like that's normally what they like know as chai. Again, why it's called chai tea here, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe, you know,
probably just Americanized.
People just
different type of black tea referred to as chai now.
Yeah, I guess it was just our way of like, yeah, because there's so many variations of tea.
Yeah.
That, you know, they probably were like, oh, they probably knew it as chai when it came here, but they're like, okay, but you know, we don't know what chai means, and chai is probably, we want to give an identification to this tea that's good, so why not just stick with chai?
Yeah.
And then obviously, like in the grand scheme of things, chai tea ends up becoming tea. So it doesn't make sense, but
I get it.
Yes, to an extent it does.
Yeah, it doesn't translate properly, but I get it.
But okay.
That is a fun fact.
Yeah. Now another thing. So since I just mentioned masala chai is in my previous episode, and here we're talking about Rooibos chai. Do you know what the difference is, aside from one being made with Rooibos and the other one being a black tea.
I know Rooibos is decaf, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically the difference. Masala chai is a caffeinated black tea, whereas Rooibos chai is decaffeinated Rooibos tea. So a little bit more information I have here is that it is a favorite Rooibos chai is a favorite amongst South Africans because it's believed to have 50% more antioxidants and powerful anti-inflammatory properties that can protect against cancer and heart disease.
Love that.
It's also very easy on the palate, as we described. Like, it's very easy to drink.
It's very easy, yeah.
Which actually, I'll ask you in a sec. It's very easy on the palate, whereas most teas take some getting used to, such as like matcha. Matcha is like a difficult thing for a lot of people. I mean, I'm having matcha, and because I don't have the proper equipment to like properly make it, I'm getting all these chunks, and I hate it so much.
Yeah, I know. It's a delicate tea.
Yeah. But anyways, we still love her.
Of course.
Rooibos is sweet and mild, and there's notes of honey and vanilla. And it's the perfect profile for a chai that's been seasoned with spices like cardamom, cinnamon, ginger, cloves, and pepper.
Okay.
And then it leaves you with some warming, soothing sensation of a masala chai without the jitter and sweaty armpits.
Okay. Well, that's a plus.
Yeah. So that is actually, I got that information from Simply Living Well, which is a website that I found. So that's my sources for that. And I like it because it's true. Like, a lot of time people are switching to more decaffeinated routes because they can't handle the caffeine as much as they used to.
Yeah.
Whether that just be they never drank it or,
yeah,
as one ages, their preferences change.
Yeah. And tea's nice to have in the afternoon, too, like after dinner. Like, I remember always having tea after dinner, too.
It's like a staple in, like, my household and even, like, amongst, like, Asian households. Like, I mean, like, I was talking about this in my previous episode with Alex, where we talked about, like, how things like dim sum, for example, they always offer you tea.
Right,
and, like, it's a way of, like, helping to digest food. So it's definitely, like, a big thing to have. And, like, I agree. Tea at night sometimes is just so warming.
It's cozy.
It's very cozy. Yeah. So another little thing that I found here was another source called Pluck Teas. Okay. Actually, this ties in with what I was going to ask you before. So before I say what they say, we talked briefly about it, but where do you see this kind of tea playing? Like, what kind of setting would you drink this kind of tea in your...
A Rooibos chai?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I would probably enjoy this tea in the evening or in the afternoon. Honestly, because I'm not even really drinking caffeinated teas in the morning anymore, I would even drink it in the morning. But for the larger scale of people, I would say, yeah, it would be more of like an evening, mid-afternoon kind of tea.
Yeah, I agree.
Pick me up, maybe.
Pick me up.
Yeah.
I see myself huddled in front of a campfire.
Oh, yeah.
And then just drinking this nice little this nice little cup of Rooibos chai with my little hat on and like my little mitts.
Cozy, I love it.
So that is the kind of setting I see myself playing this. So now back to Pluck Teas, because that's where I was going with this. They mentioned that Rooibos chai is perfect to brew for any time of day, so you're not wrong. And like you could have it in the morning, you can have it at night. And basically their suggestion is to serve it with milk, add a drizzle of honey, or a sprinkling of sugar to amplify the flavor.
I'm a pro.
There you go.
I've been drinking tea my whole life.
You
Speaking my language.
No, seriously, you know how it goes. Drinking for like what, 20 plus years?
Yeah, like, yeah.
Since you were
Since my great grandma used to serve it to us. So.
Yeah, so like.
Long time.
A long time ago. Now, apparently, and this one is probably like, kind of known, and I feel like it's kind of seen more often in the day. There are 3 variations or 3 ways of preparing this chai tea.
Okay.
Or, Rooibos tea. So you can go with quick chai, which is basically, you add a little bit of tea to a cup, boil the water for like 5 minutes. Steep it in boiled water for 5 minutes. You add a splash of milk and sweeten it if desired. So that's like the quick way, you know, like if you're looking for something kind of like to go. If for the more traditional method of doing it, you add 2 tea bags to a pot with water, and with 5 ounces of water and 5 ounces of milk. You heat and stir it and bring it to like kind of simmer.
Okay.
And you let it steep for like 15 to 30 minutes. You remove the bags, strain the loose tea, and then if you leave it steeping for longer, it creates a more like intense flavor. But if you leave it for like 15 minutes, then it's like fine. That's the more traditional route.
Yeah.
So you got the quick, the traditional, and then the last one is doing it as an iced chai.
Oh, yes. Finding iced chais are rare, but when I do...
Have you ever made your own?
No, I've never made my own.
Okay, well, here you go.
It.
Well, here you go. I will tell you how to make it.
Okay.
So for iced chai, so you can steep 2 bags of, you know, this tea in 6 ounces of freshly boiled water for 5 minutes. Sweeten if you desire it. Then you chill the tea in the freezer for 10 minutes.
Okay.
Removing the tea bags. Removing that first before you throw it in the freezer. And then you can chill in you can let it chill. Wait, did I lose my spot? Sorry. So you let it chill in the freezer for 10 minutes, removing the bags, the tea bags, and then you can pour it into ice, into a glass of ice. So one of the others. Like if you want it to kind of leave it for later, you put it in the freezer. If you want it like kind of like right at that moment after you like boil the water and let it steep in for like 5 minutes, then you just pour it over ice.
And you know, so this summer, when I was in a Soyuz, I had a iced chai frap.
That sounds delicious.
It was life-changing.
Okay.
And I've only ever seen that one place, and it was this little cafe, which I can't remember what it's called now, but in a Soyuz, there isn't many. It's a white little barn-looking kind of cafe off the main strip. But it was life-changing.
Honestly, I believe it. But you know what? We're going to talk about Soyuz for a quick second because I went there earlier this year.
Oh, you did?
And it was my first time going in quite a few years. Like, the first time I went to a Soyuz was, I think, when I first came to visit BC before, like, I moved here. And I was just curious, like, about the area. And I remember it looked very Western.
Yes.
Like, it looked like you could find cowboys there. I was like, what the fuck is this area?
Yeah.
I'm like, everything looks so outdated. Then I recently went and I was just like, my God, how the times have changed. Within a few years, there's like so much new developments that came up. And I was just like, it actually looks really nice. Not that I didn't back in the day, but it was just like such a drastic change seeing like these like Western saloon properties to like now more modern buildings and people just living around in a desert. I was just like,
I know, it's crazy. There's still like not a lot, but like it is so cute. I don't know. I loved it up there.
I loved the vibes.
Yeah.
It was so nice. I was like, I would love to just go back like whenever I have time and just, you know, sightsee.
You're in the desert, so it's warm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now I do have another way of brewing traditional like Rooibos tea, and this is based off of a different source because, you know, like with tea and like how you prepare it, it really does depend on how people do it. Yeah. You know, is a traditional way that most people are known about, but then like people have preferences, so they'll like somehow divert a little bit. Yeah. So this one is from a source called Cedo Snacks. Okay. With an X, not CK. Okay. So they say you place the tea in a pot and cover it with boiling water. Steep until the leaves have opened, then pour the water out. Okay. Now fill the pot with a desired amount of boiling water and steep it again. Oh. Until it has reached its desired strength. So I guess like, you know, until you feel like there's enough time has passed that you steeped it, and it, you know, the longer it is, the more intense the flavor. Yeah. So this would make a smooth and milder brew. If you place the tea in a pot on the stove and add water, bring it to the boil, add water to bring to a boil, this will make a very dark brew with a strong flavor. If you add boiling water to the tea and steep for a long time, like let's say 30 minutes or more, this will make a dark, flavorful brew. Okay. So, you know what I realized? I think why it sounded confusing, I don't know if you got all that. I personally lost myself at one point.
Zoned out mid-sentence.
So what I got from that was basically like if you're boiling in a pot, similar thing, like if you leave it for like 5, let's say 10 minutes,
Yeah.
it gives you like a nice, like smooth, kind of similar to this, you know, like very smooth flavor. If you leave it for like, let's say 10 to 20, then there it becomes a little bit more milder, like a little bit more intense. Probably, I don't know if it said bitter, but it's more intense. And then 30 or more, then it's like really intense flavor.
Depends how intense you want it, I guess.
Yeah. I'm curious as to like how that one would taste.
Me too.
Like, would it be like...
It'd be fun to try like all 3.
I know.
Like less to most intense.
Maybe in a future episode.
Yeah. There you go.
Because I know, for example, Earl Grey, I love me a good Earl Grey, but if the tea has been sitting in there for the longest times, it becomes so nasty.
Same with English breakfast. English breakfast gets strong quick, I find.
I think that's just black teas in general.
Yeah, true.
So I'm curious to see how that would be. Okay. So that was basically it for my tea history. I touched upon it in the previous episode, and I didn't want to overlap too much. And the new segment, or not new segment, but the way I wanted to do things a little bit differently was obviously ask my guests for their input. So in this case, we are done. But now comes the fun part, which is basically, you know, talking about you, and if you have anything you'd like to share, like platforms or not platforms, projects.
My IG handle.
My IG handle. Catch me on Facebook.
Facebook, yeah, I'm that old.
MySpace.
You know what? I never was a big MySpace gal.
Honestly,
I was an MSN gal though.
Oh, I love
MSN.
MSN
Through.
Hotmail or MSN Messenger.
MSN Messenger, yes.
My favorite. And then like back when like emojis was a thing, but it was like only catered to just MSN. So they had like those really there was like specific, like I think at most like 10 emojis, and these ones, as soon as you sent it, it would just pop out. And then play.
Oh my god, yeah.
I love those. My favorite one was like the girl laughing her ass off.
Yeah.
Basically equivalent to LOL.
I totally forgot about all that.
Those were, yeah.
The OG emojis.
For real. So like, yeah. I know, for example, when we met, you were doing marketing, and I think you had your own like little marketing.
I did. Yeah. So for everyone listening, when I met Joseph, I was working in marketing at the company we both work at now. And then just this past February, at the end of February, I quit to go to Spain for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came back from Spain, and I'm back just in a new position. So I've been enjoying it, though. I find learning the brokerage side of the business has been fun, and now I'm doing my commercial real estate license, so that's fun as well.
Ooh, she's coming to broker.
Yeah, and I've been studying every night, so I'm entering my hermit phase, but still allowing for a little bit of social time because I don't want to totally not allow myself to have fun, because then then you just stop focusing, you know what I mean?
Stop focusing, you
burn out. So you need to have like, you know, one plan at least a week where I'm not just studying every single night, but I'm trying to fast track it. And so we'll see what the future holds that way. It's a little bit intimidating, but it's definitely exciting. Yeah. And, you know, I feel like everyone here is really supportive, and I feel like there's a good crew around me. So I think that, you know, if I stumble and fall, people will be able to pick me back up. And, yeah, I think just being on the brokerage side of the business, working directly with the brokers, is going to help me make that leap, because I'm learning how to basically do everything.
Yeah.
I just can't give legal advice and stuff like that right now. So that's fun. And yeah, like you were saying, I used to have my own marketing company. I don't anymore. It was short and sweet. My girlfriend and I, we were doing social media marketing for restaurants, and we did it for about a year, and then just with our two schedules, it just got too conflicting, and both decided we just wanted to pursue our own careers, and so it was fun to do that for a year, definitely. But we shut that down, and it was good to learn the business venture. Yeah, I mean, other than that, I don't know. My cat is amazing. I
We
take
love
her
cat.
camping. She's 17.
Didn't you take her glamping just recently?
We take her glamping. We bought a canopy for her so that we can put it over the car so that we can leave the tailgate open and she can wander around. And yeah, I'm moving out of downtown, so that's exciting this coming Sunday. I'm excited to not live downtown.
That's fair. I can imagine. It's like very busy.
Yeah. Just like from where we work to where I live is just very similar surroundings, and you know, I'm a small town girl at heart, so I think that moving to Kitsilano is going to help me feel that small town vibe, the neighborhood peace, birds chirping, you know, waking up to a serene vibe, and then coming downtown to the chaos.
Yeah, so
and being able to get away with it when I leave, you know?
Yep, no, that's fair. I totally get that.
Yeah.
Coming from a similar, I lived basically in the farms, in the farmland.
Yeah.
I
same.
did not live on a farm, but I lived in the farmlands.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't enjoy coming downtown. I'm just like, there's too many people.
It's a lot.
I'd rather
it's cray-cray down here.
No, for real. We're not gonna get into that.
No, that's
that's a whole different thing.
Yeah,
we go
yeah.
on tangents for that.
We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But it gets crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, there was another thing. So, and I'm just gonna briefly touch upon this because I remembered we did this one night. But remember that one time when we all decided to go watch The Real Housewives of Sydney?
Yes. And we didn't even get to really watch anything because no one could stop talking.
No one could have stopped talking. we were just really into I felt like it was funny. I think we were all just having so much fun being in each other's presence that we just completely forgot about the show.
100%.
And then, like, as soon as you heard people talking on, like, the show, they're like, I can't understand them.
I know. We're like, what are they even saying?
It's like, well, we probably would know what they're saying if we were actually paying attention.
Yeah. Oh my god, and earlier that night, our friend Iman needed her light bulbs changed.
Oh my god.
And so there was like 4 of us trying to change these light bulbs, standing on each other's shoulders, trying to unscrew these things. Oh
honestly, if changing a light bulb was like an Olympics event, I'm sure we'd win.
We would have killed it.
Yeah. 1,000%.
Yeah.
That was so funny. I will never forget that. We still have pictures.
I know. Oh my god, we need to do like another night for sure.
We should.
Yeah.
We should.
Another crew night, just intimate.
Just,
just having fun at someone's house.
Exactly. But anyways, I think that's it for my questions and comments. So if you have literally anything else to add, feel free.
I wish I was more exciting, but right now I'm literally just studying. I have so many plans, like, in the new year between bachelorettes, family trips, just trips that I got planned. So I need to get all my studying done before that, so I'm going to be boring until then, but then continue living my best life. Next year, if one thing that, quitting for 3 months taught me going to Spain is that travel is very important in my life, and adventuring, like in the summers, every single weekend, get me out of the city, get me onto a campsite near a waterfall or something where I can just totally zen out, hike to the top of the mountain, hate my life the whole way until I get to the top, then appreciate the view and feel accomplished, so.
Honestly, that's very motivating.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like just like everyone just know that you have the freedom and the choice to choose your life. You can live your best life. You're never stuck. That is like my biggest preach of life is just, I did it for myself. I hit a wall where I was just like, what I'm doing and where I'm living is just not serving me anymore. And, a new friend of mine at the time said she was moving out to BC. So I moved with her, and then here I am 3.5 years later. I have a whole life that I've created. I love it. I've met so many amazing people like you.
Yeah.
And it's just been so fun. So, change seems scary, and a lot of people feel tied down to jobs or, families or just different commitments that you have. But, even if the answer isn't moving across the country, like there's always a way. Like you're only tied down as long as you allow the excuses to tie you down. If you really want change and you really want something, then you'll always find a way to make that happen, whether it's big or small. And honestly, I just feel like I thrive in change. Like the unknown can be scary, but if something's not serving you, it's not scarier just staying put.
Exactly.
I
1,000% agree. And honestly, when you were saying all this, the one thing that kept coming to mind, it's so much funnier in Spanish. And honestly, like, okay, so it's basically more of like a religious saying, but like the words themselves can be very, I don't want to say translated, but can be used in other ways. Basically, the saying goes, and it's better in Spanish, but I'm just going to say it in English: nothing's impossible if you have faith.
Yeah. Oh my
So,
God, I love it.
Obviously, like,
That tattooed on me.
No, for real. You won't regret it.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So it's like, obviously in this context, they're using it for more of a, like, you know, religious beliefs, you know,
Yeah.
that kind of faith. But in this regards, it's more like, you know, if you have faith in yourself and your capabilities, and
Yeah.
you know that you can do this, as long as you have that belief, as long as you have that motivation, you can do it.
100%. And like, if it doesn't work out the first time exactly how you thought it was going to work out, well, surrender to the process, because, you know, you're not always meant to plan everything. And, you know, taking my own advice there. But also B, like, if it doesn't work out the first time, every door closed is literally just a redirection to a new door that's going to open for you. And as cliche as that is to say, it's so true.
It's true. Look at us. We're being so holistic, and
here we are. We're just turning this week around.
No, for real.
And we're
you know,
motivating each other.
After having such a brutal week, you know, look at us bonding over tea. What a great experience.
It has been.
Well,
love it.
We love that.
We do.
So, on that note, don't have any more to say or add. So, I just want to thank you again for coming on today's episode, you know, recording. I know we had to reschedule due to, you know, life circumstances.
Yeah.
But you're always welcome to come back. And honestly, if you're open to trying out new things, I am always happy to bring in some new teas to try.
Perfect. Yeah, let me know.
Will do. Thank you again.
Okay, thank you so much, Joseph. It's been so fun.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Okay, bye, everyone.
Bye.